Mr. Anthony Borja. Good morning, Mr. Borja. He's coming to us all the way from Las Vegas, Nevada. And as we have been talking about over the past several weeks, Congressman St. Nicholas has been making several recommendations to the Biden-Harris administration. And one of them is Mr. Borja to serve as the U.S. ambassador to the Republic of Palau. So congratulations, Mr. Borja, and good morning to you. How are you doing?
Oh, Akmasisi, very well. Ali and Umil Tutao and Buenos Dias para Hamza Todolopoy.
And so, did you know that this recommendation was coming? Is it something that you had pitched to the congressman?
No, he called me up on a Saturday morning and asked me if I was interested in working for the government. And of course, it's you're honored to be called to serve, and that's exactly what I did. 4 days later, there was a press release, so it was pretty quick.
So when you got the call, how excited, I guess, were you?
Oh, I'm very excited and very humble to be asked.
Mm-hmm. And so for our viewers and our listeners that aren't familiar with you, Mr. Borja, if you could tell us a little bit about yourself. I understand that you are a retired United States Air Force major.
Yes, I'm a retired military officer with a veteran of 3 wars, Vietnam, Gulf War, and Bosnia. I'm originally from Saipan, moved to Guam, and qualified to be a U.S. citizen back in the days of the Organic Act of Guam in 1950. I come from a family of 12. I have a twin brother named Mario, lives in San Diego. I have 3 children.
I know Mario. I was wondering why you look so familiar.
We both carved a canoe back in 2011, finished it in 2012. It was the first 47-foot Chamorro Sacman, which is the authentic Sacman to the Anson drawing of 1742. I have, like I said, I have 3 children. The eldest one is Jenny Isa, Tassi Lynn, and Napo Anthony. I was married to Linda Gogo Castro of San Diego, but I'm currently happily married with Claire Chrysostome James, family in Bedzung of Barrigada. Mm-hmm. I've been in the military for 21 years, 0.7, and I've served in the United States, in Guam, Thailand, Philippines, in Europe, Italy, and Germany, and had a lot of experience with battle staff management, with radars and weapons control. I was an air traffic controller in the Navy, and that's when they teach you how to keep airplanes apart. And as a weapons controller in the Air Force, I was taught how to put them together, in a dogfight. So I retired in 1998 and out of NATO, and went to Saipan to teach school there for a couple years. And bought a house and farmed a little bit, and then I decided to come back to the States and stay there. The service here for the veterans in terms of healthcare is extraordinary. They have a new Veterans Medical Center, and it's great. It's difficult to get the same service on Guam due to the size of the CBOC. Right. However, it's been very fortunate for us to veterans here. There are approximately 130 Chamorros retirees, veterans that live here and are being serviced. I was part of the National Organization of Chamorro Veterans in America, and for about 5 years. I am currently, for the last 15 years, I've been working out of Palau, worked for 5 families, trying to get the rights of the Chamorros to obtain land that they owned prior to World War II. And I successfully obtained titles for 260 acres for 5 families.
How long have you been in Vegas, and how did you land there?
I've been in Vegas since March of 2000. I'm a commuter. My wife lives in Barragata, and I travel every 4 months back and forth, staying on Guam a little longer sometimes to help with the community and help my wife, with local things around the house.
When's the last time you were back on Guam?
6 weeks ago, I was there. And
So
we,
did you go through the
it's the
quarantine?
COVID that kept us locked in. Yeah, it kept us locked in for a while.
What about Palau? When's the last time you've been back to Palau?
Palau was 2017. We had to do some final work with the Palau Land Court and the Palau Bureau of Land Survey and office in Koror.
So the congressman made this recommendation. Have you heard anything from the Biden-Harris administration or anything else?
No, I sent a package to the Congressional Hispanic Caucus, and which Congressman Mike Nicholas is a member of, and several other Hispanic representatives and senators. One of them is Senator Catarina Cortez Masto. She's from Las Vegas in my district here. And that would help out, perhaps.
Well, we do have another individual that was recommended by Congressman Michael San Nicolas in our Zoom room. It is Shelly Vargas Calvo. Good morning, Shelly. She was recommended by the congressman to serve as the U.S. ambassador to the Philippines. Good morning, Shelly.
Good morning.
How
Good morning, everyone.
How are you doing?
Congratulations.
And congratulations to you too, Mr. Borja, for your nomination. Hi. I want to say good morning to Mr. Wheeler and, of course, Sabrina. Good morning to you. And good morning, Guam.
Well, congratulations on this recommendation.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
And so tell us about when you got the phone call from the congressman.
When I got the phone call.
Yeah.
Okay. Actually, it came very unexpected. We only got the phone call last week, so today would be the actual week, 1 week, when I spoke to Congressman San Nicolas. What happened was he initially messaged me that he wanted to speak to myself and my husband together, and it took probably 2 days to arrange for a common schedule for the three of us. And finally, Tuesday last week, we were able to do our conference call. Initially, he did not tell me anything at all. And I asked him through the message that, it would be nice to know what it's about. He said it was just a surprise. So, and he'd like to talk to myself and Paul, my husband. And when we finally spoke, so Paul and I were debating, and we were just thinking, perhaps our honorable congressman would like to invite us to Washington, D.C. So those are the things that we were thinking about. But then again, so when we got into the phone line with him, then he said the news. I was kind of dumbfounded at first, and I guess in the next following days, it's just sinking in that it's a big honor. It's a big honor to be nominated and recommended to the President-elect Biden.
So do either of you know how many other recommendations there are, and what's the process from here on out? because the recommendation is one thing, and then you have to get to the nomination. So have you been clued in as to the process from here on out?
Indeed, there is actually a whole procedure and process following this recommendation. I believe there's about 5 recommendations for different positions that he submitted, and in my case, I could only speak for myself. For the position that I have been recommended to, I will. This would be classified as a political appointment. However, it's a political appointment that needs to go through a Senate confirmation. So that will be in the ambassadorship position. Now, I guess Mr. Borja can speak for himself for the particular position that he's recommended to.
Well, pretty much the same process. Understand that it's just a nomination, which is step 1, to the President-elect Biden's transition team. It goes to the State Department, I understand, for vetting. And that's where a lot of competition is, because they have the State Department preferred the foreign state officers to fill these positions. However, after the vetting process, approval from the president, then that's the third step of the process. After that, it goes to a senatorial hearing. Understand it's about 2 hours of interview in the Senate chambers, and after that, if you pass, then you celebrate. But that's
you're no stranger. Major, you're no stranger to this process, being a military man, going up for selection and then getting that next promotion. So this kind of seems like something you've been through before, but not on this level.
Andy, you're absolutely correct. And we just have to maintain and sustain and wish for the best, you know?
Right. Right. And Shelly, for our viewers and listeners, if you can kind of just share a little bit about yourself.
I'm Shelly Vargas Calvo, and I'm married to Paul Baza Calvo, and I have been a resident of U.S. for 25 or so years, and I'm a small business operator. I've had a couple of businesses that I opened up. Some I wrapped up, some I sold. My interest, and I've been having I did a lot of businesses here in Guam and in the Philippines as well. I'm very familiar with Philippines because I was born and raised there, and I know the traditions, the cultures, of course the language. I speak fluent Filipino, so that's really a plus for this particular position. And I have very strong ties back home, relationships, network, colleagues, and you name it. So Guam has already been my home for the last, I would say, 18 years. But prior to Guam, I have lived in San Francisco since the mid-90s. And then I moved to Guam early 2000, and I have been calling Guam as my beautiful home from then and up till now. And I'm actually very proud and honored to be recommended in this very prestigious position. Just to be recommended alone, I think it's such a big honor already, and especially coming from Guam. I will tell you that if I'm not mistaken, this is the first time that we have actively participated in the recommendation process. So this is something that's really very vital for Guam because it showcases us, and it actually sets a tone that we actually have an interest in matters that are very beneficial to our island, to our people, to our beautiful home. So that's it.
I wanted to ask you both, this recommendation, it's not a final, it's not a guarantee, but still there's the possibility that you do get confirmed in these positions. So have you already kind of started thinking about things you want to accomplish or goals that you have in mind if you do get confirmed to this position?
Can I take the lead on that real quick?
Major, go ahead.
Thanks, Shelly. Well, working at Anderson Air Force Base and in my business through Bilao from 2000 to 2017, I've had the opportunity to study the Palau Constitution of 1979, ratified in 1980, and the Palau National Code regarding land ownership and judicial cases addressing that subject. I've also been a study of the U.S. Palauan Compact of Free Association, and there are 4 titles there. Title 3 comes to me of great concern because it's about security and defense of agreements, and the United States has opportunity with Palau to renegotiate, to discuss the compact coming up in 2024. So that seems to be the direction that I'm thinking is what is best for the United States and for the people of Bilao. I'm conversational in Palauan, Tagalog, and fluent in Chamorro, both oral and written. And I feel that I could bring to the table the knowledge of the customs, the traditions, the mores, the laws, and the needs of the island. I have rooted sanguinity and affinity with the people of Bilao. We have family that were married to the Palauans and still are, and still live there. We've been there since 1896, my family, and they have spilled their blood. And I have always mentioned to them that Adara Bilao means I am Palauan as well. Not to forget the premise that I am representing my United States government, and the fact that I need to study that position and how I can best transition the Palauan U.S. relations. We need the flag and the flag of the United States flying in Palau because it provides us a democratic system and of lands and judicial system, and also the ability for us to travel. We have a lot of veterans over there, and we need to maintain that relationship with the people of Palau and the Micronesian and the entire Pacific Islands, And I think that working with the other representatives and ambassadors in the area, I think we can conducively come to that melting point, the culminating point of doing the best for the United States and its people, our people in the Pacific. Mm-hmm. So that's where my concentration is, Andy. Thank you. Mm-hmm. It's a good question.
Excellent. Shelly?
For this particular position, the ambassadorship, to be a U.S. ambassador to the Philippines, it's there's so much moving pieces that I really need to be in depth and be abreast. I could only say that I am just at the surface of all the issues, but I could of course not speak prematurely with regards to many sensitive issues, and especially with security and stuff between Philippines and US. But if I ever get the post, I, of course, primarily would like to take good care of our citizens that are living in the Philippines. There's a lot of Americans that live there. And to be accurate about it, it would be about 220,000 individuals, American citizens, that are living in the Philippines. And of course, taking care of their welfare, assisting them would be a primary task for me, one of the primary tasks for me. And another primary task that an ambassador would do and if I ever come in as ambassador, is of course to strengthen that long alliance that Philippines, U.S. and Philippines have. This alliance dates back over 100 years ago. So there's a lot of shoes to fill for someone like me to come in. There were so many ambassadors already that held the position in the past, and there's so many good ambassadors. So big shoes to fill, and a lot of issues to talk about. But for this particular session, I really do not want to get ahead of everything, of all the matters, because most of state matters are very sensitive, and I would rather wait for our next interview as we progress along. But I would also focus on a personal note. Those are the things that I would focus on: strengthening the ties of U.S. and Philippines, of course, assisting the U.S. citizens that live there. And of course, I will definitely do a lot of humanitarian work and advocacies, because that is really what I've been doing the last more than decade here on Guam.
Well, let's bring in Michelle Kramer. She was recommended by Congressman Michael St. Nicholas to be the U.S. ambassador to the Republic of the Marshall Islands. Good morning, Michelle. Thank you so much for coming in to our show.
Good morning. Good morning, Sabrina, Andy Wheeler. Congratulations, Shelly, and Mr. Anthony Borja.
Thank you.
And
Thank you, and congratulations to you too.
Thank you.
And so, Michelle, I guess we can start with just telling our viewers and our listeners a little bit about yourself and your initial reaction when you got the phone call about this recommendation by the congressman.
Wow. Okay. So I have to say it was about a week ago. So it was on a Friday, and got an early message from the congressman. He wanted to speak to my father and I, and it was that morning. When he had asked, I was thinking of something else. Like a secretary position. And when I hung up the phone, my dad said, "This is the U.S. ambassador for the Marshall Islands." And it was like, wow. That was just, honored and humbled, and just thankful that he has this confidence for me. A little bit about myself. I'm originally from the Marshall Islands, born and raised in Major Marshall Islands. I am a number 5 out of 7 kids that my parents have, and my father is from Boston, Massachusetts, and my mother is of mixed nationality. She's originally from Saipan. My grandmother is Carolinian, and my grandfather is of Marshallese, Gilbertese descent. So that's where I have my bloodline. What would I talk about? I attended my primary school year in the Marshall Islands, and my first experience out of well, I wouldn't say first. We were fortunate, but we were able to travel back and forth. And I remember in my primary years, we would travel between Saipan to visit my mom's family, and then that's when we would come through Guam. So I had some familiarization with Guam and how the island was. And when I came in for my high school year, that was at Notre Dame High School. During that time, it was still a culture shock for me. Growing up from, Marshall Islands is a small island, but Guam is also an island. But to me, it was big. We don't have the franchise, the fast food life, and the movie theaters that Guam had. The Marshalls didn't, and it was a change, big change. But I came here because I had my siblings and family that were already attending school and working here, and I was fortunate to I spent 1 year here in Guam and transferred to a boarding school in Honolulu, Mid-Pacific Institute, where I graduated high school there in 98. I don't know if I'm trying to get all my education part, but I ended up attending Hawaii Pacific University, and I got my Bachelor's of Science in Business Administration. It was then when I graduated with my undergraduate degree, I ended up going back to the Marchands to help with their family business. And there was an ad or an opportunity to start on a management training program with Bank of Guam that same year. And so I had left the Marshalls to come back to Guam in 2005. And in that training program, that's where I first met Congressman Michael Nicholas. And so we were both in that intensive program for a year. And after that year, I got promoted to the branch bank officer at Garapan and Saipan, which I served in Garapan, Saipan, Bank of Guam, Garapan branch for 2 years. And then, having to spend 3 years with the bank, with the growing business in the Marshall Islands, my family had asked me, maybe, we missed you. We'd love to have you back home to help with the company. So went back to the Marshalls. And during that time, there was, the news broke out with the Marines possibly moving to Guam. And there was, all this hype with the economy of Guam, boosting. And, there was an opportunity for us to grow our business here on Guam. So we purchased it was a wholesale company, and that's how we ended up coming back. Well, I ended up coming back here. And then a few years later, met my husband here, who's also of multinational. He's born and raised in Pohnpei, and he's also part Palauan. So our kids are very multinational, and I speak Marshallese to my kids. He speaks Pohnpeian to his, to our kids, and they learn English from being here.
Let me ask you guys this. You all seem to be surprised by this recommendation by the congressman, and you all seem, like I said, surprised. So if you could tell me, why do you think that he recommended each of you to the positions? And we'll start with you, Mr. Borja.
Well, I have worked with with Congressman Mike within the Mariano Borja Estate Corporation, a corporation that we started in March of 2000 to organize our effort in obtaining our rights to land in Palau. And we started 2000. In 2004, I was the president. I was elected the president until 2017. And Michael was my vice president for several years. So he understands, and we both went to Palau in 2012 to a land court hearing and a Supreme Court hearing eventually. So he pretty much knew how I was working over there and how I was conducting myself in Palau with the people, and how I can navigate through the judicial and political arenas to obtain the support that we needed to be successful with our cases. So in that respect, I feel that he has a great understanding of my capability to do that same work back in Palau as the ambassador. Anyway, that's what I think. How he got his mass information from me.
Shelly?
I have worked with the congressman on his first campaign. The initial in his first term. And he actually had plans to involve me or get me involved in his first year. So he just so this is actually his second term now. So in the first term, he had wishes to, he's expressed wishes for me to help him out. But I was brought in and I was pulled in a different direction during that time on personal reasons, business reasons. So I humbly and respectfully declined. So now in his second term, he's never forgotten, and he just decided he firmly believes that I will be able to forge and continue secure that with alliance between U.S. and Philippines. And I believe he understands and he knows very well my skills, my work habits. And he knows that I'm a very determined person and a very hardworking person. And like him, he knows that we're when we are working, we hardly sleep. And I actually am very thankful for that trust from him. And I think because I am also Filipino American. I was born there. I know the landscape. I know the culture, the traditions. I have extensive network there, not just in the Philippines, but also U.S. I lived in San Francisco for a long time, in California too. And so I'm very well traveled. And I have a perky personality and very friendly. So perhaps he saw a lot of potential and appointing me, or not appointing me, but recommending me for this particular position. And that's it.
Miss Michelle?
Oh, Congressman. Well, I'd have to say that I have, I have an extensive networking of, both public and private sector. I've worked with both. I've served in several boards in the Marshall Islands as well as on Guam. So I know that if he needed to connect with anybody, I had no problems in making that connection. Also, I'm proud of my heritage in both American and both Marshallese. I grew up knowing the tradition and the culture in both the Marshall Islands in my primary years. Even though I'm here in Guam, Guam is our home. I'm still well in touch with my family, people in the Marshalls with issues that are happening there, and I'm also well aware of how the U.S. is growing, being American educated, and I think, if being selected, I think I'd be in a unique position where it will be a unique opportunity because of the welfare of the Marshall Islands being important to the U.S. There's a special U.S. relationship with the U.S. and the Marshall Islands, and so well-rounded in that.
Well, we certainly congratulate you guys. I know this is just the first step. The nomination, I believe, still has to be made by the Biden administration, but we want to just give you, your final comments on this recommendation by the congressman. Shelly? Your final comments? Shelly?
Oh, sorry about that.
Oh, it's okay.
Final comments. I am just elated, and this is an honor for myself, not just for myself, but for my family as well, and the whole island of Guam. And considering, like I mentioned earlier, that this is actually the very first time we have expressed interest in recommending positions. I think that's very vital, and it would bring in more attention to our island. And if if uh, uh, if it happens that each one of the nominees were chosen, even just one of us, that would be a very great honor for us. It states, it states that we are very interested in participating in matters that actually is very important to us, our island, to our people, and to the whole nation, of course. And I would just request for prayers and support from the people of Guam and all our colleagues, our families, not just for myself, but of course for the five people that the congressman actually recommended.
Michelle?
I'm, just truly honored, humbled, and thankful by, to be nominated to serve as the U.S. ambassador for the Marshall Islands, especially, having to be recognized by Congressman Michael St. Nicholas, who has worked so hard for the people of Guam, and I hope that I can do the same for both the Marshall Islands and as well, of course, for the U.S.
Mario? I mean, not Mario. Sorry. You just look.
No,
Anthony.
I'll let Mario
Anthony.
speak,
That's his twin brother,
earlier,
everybody.
Earlier, you asked me some questions about my background. I felt to include some things that are important. I attended College of Guam under the Upward Bound program, moved to joined the Navy, and then when I got out of the Navy, I used the GI Bill to go to college. And at San Diego State University, and graduated with a Bachelor of Science in Criminal Justice. And later on in 1991, I received a master's degree from Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University, graduating summa cum laude. In my military, I attended Squadron Officer School and Staff Officer School, and most recently the Armed Forces Staff College in Residence. And that basic educational block of has given me insight in how not only the way the military works, but how people within the joint, combined, and allied forces work. And so that gave me pretty good structure to work with the NATO. Having the culminating point of all that is that it prepares you to work with other governments. And I am honored, like Michelle and Shelly are, to have been nominated. We have to face the reality that there are other people perhaps that are well vetted, not necessarily know their island nation better than we do, because I feel that Shelly is inspired and has explained, and so is Michelle, inspired and explained their qualities and how well they know the people. And I think that's important. We need to look at a shift of the paradigm of how nominees get confirmed. It's what's their root connection with the people. And I think that's it's very germane and quintessential to the selection process. And I wish them luck. I wish that we could just become confirmed right away. However, the process, I understand, may take through March. It may take through March. And so stand strong, ladies. I am proud to be amongst these distinguished ladies, Shelly and Michelle. And I look forward to working with them, because I would reach out to their offices and mention this conversation from the beginning, the impetus of all this. And in closing, I want to thank the people of Guam. I definitely want to thank Michael. I know his parents, Dr. Eva, and Michael Sr. We're very related, and I want to bring quality of representation, not only to the United States, but make Guam proud, make the Palauans proud, because we need that affinity. We need strong affinity with the people that we represent. And I believe Michelle and Shelly do have those qualities, and we want to be a threesome going in and make it strong. Congratulations, Shelly. Congratulations, Michelle. Godspeed to all of you.
Congratulations.
And
Can you
thank
see,
you.
guys, that we are so ready to rock it?
Thanks, Sabrina. Thanks, Jason. Thanks, Andy. And Godspeed to all of you.
All right. Thank you guys
Thank
for
you.
coming on. And good luck.
Mario,
Good luck.
Thank you.
All right.
All right.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye,
All
Shelly.
right,
Bye.
take care. Happy holidays. Be
Thank you
safe.
so much.
All right.
Yeah. Merry Christmas to y'all.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
That was Anthony Borja. He was recommended by Congressman Michael San Nicolas to